a story from the state. State Republican Party faces leadership. Hey, you know what? Let me just mention where everybody's from. David Van, David Oldham, and David D'Ambroso. Find David Van at SoonerPolitics.org, David Oldham at ConstitutionalGrounds.com, and Dave D'Ambroso right there on Facebook at Dave D'Ambroso. I'm Tom McKay, your host at 3D Politics. Find me right here. A state story. State Republican Party faces leadership disputes and claims of mounting debt. So, looks like
I hate this story because there's good folks on both sides.
Okay, this is a story by Randy, is it Crable?
Crable, yeah.
By Tulsa World?
Yeah, a prominent political writer for Tulsa World for years. Well known, fairly well respected.
First little paragraph here. Some Oklahoma Republicans are concerned about the state party's financial situation amid the apparent rift between Chairman David McClain and Vice Chairman Mike Turner. Financial problems and personality conflicts are not usual for either state party. This year's state Democratic convention ended in confusion, with Alicia Andrews of Tulsa declared state chairman by just 12 votes. More than once in the past 15 years, it has teetered on financial ruin. Mm-hmm. Tell us about it.
Well, first off, I've got to say Randy's wrong because the Democrats were having Mike Workman arrested so that he couldn't run.
Yeah.
So his premise that these rifts don't exist in parties
unusual for either state party.
yes,
clearly wrong.
The Democrats are always pioneers in corruption and crap.
So the Democrats
are just now getting into it. They've been doing it for
decades. The Democrats have their issues. The Republicans have had theirs. Randy Brogdon was one example. This is another one. There have been others, but no, I'm going to bow out because I just wanted to clear the air on that one.
$25,000 in debt just 6 months ago. It reportedly had a $10,000 balance. So in 6 months, they're suddenly in debt $25,000. What do you know, David?
More than I can say. It is a financial problem, and AJ Ferrati kind of explained further in the article some of the law issues that do make it a little bit hard for fundraising, but I don't know. I don't know that the laws have changed that much that we can point to that. We've had a lot of opportunities that have not been tapped into. Governor Stitt has not been tapped into to help with fundraisers, for instance. I'm not going to tell you what I privately counseled the people in this, because I've talked to both of them. One of the things I will say publicly is I've chewed both of them out for not talking to each other. And, it's a problem, and I think it's something that's going to come to a head probably pretty quickly.
So here's Turner in a quote: "Our job is to fundraise, take punches so the elected officials don't have to.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
strike back at the Democrats." He said that in an email. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. You want your party to be, when the other side is nipping at your candidates, and that's typically the role going into a general election, is you don't want your candidate playing defense. You want him to stay on offense. Therefore, your party is supposed to handle a lot of those. But we're early on.
And in the primaries, you want your party to be promoting your values.
Right.
So that rather than individual candidates, rather than taking sides and everything, you support.
That's something that needs to occur, because it seems in recent years the Republican Party is really confused as to whether it likes tax increases or dislikes them, whether it likes Obamacare or dislikes Obamacare.
Here's the problem. What we're supposed to be doing in the off years is raising a war chest. Instead, we've depleted ours, and we're pretty significantly in debt.
Sure, I guess that's probably the orthodoxy, but in reality, at least what I've observed, the candidates either get the money on their own or they don't have it.
Well, there is that, but how do you say, hey, the party needs to be relevant when the party's bankrupt and constantly going to the candidates and the office holders?
Well, listen, I've asked a lot of smart people, how do you make the party relevant? And I haven't gotten a really good answer yet, I don't think.
So here's what I want to say on this. Yes, they should have been raising money. They should have been doing that. Gary Jones was asked to chair the budget committee just a week before our third state committee meeting. At the second state committee meeting is when we should have had a budget presented by the budget committee for the state committee to approve, so that the chairman is running the party on a budget and staying out of debt. We haven't done that. Gary Jones came on. He said to the state committee, folks, I don't have a budget for you. I just had my first meeting 2 nights ago.
How can they be governmental representatives if they can work a budget, David?
Hold on. So then he said, at the next meeting, which would be in November, he said, we'll present a budget for next year. In other words, we've given up on 2019. That's the year we were supposed to have this big war chest coming up. And now since then, I called him on the phone. He said, by the way, I resigned chairmanship of the budget.
Guys, make peace with Democrat ideology, not war chests. And I think that's what the party's been doing, because we've got people running for YR. They hate the president, they hate the governor, they love tax increases, they love Obamacare. We've got people involved in the state victory campaign that hate the president. And it's just, what's up with the party?
Yeah, but
why can't we have debates?
Unless you're willing to name
Why can't
names,
we talk about the platform?
I'm going to ignore that unless you're naming names.
You can ignore it, but the people heard it.
Yeah.
Well, right here it says Turner says from the article. Turner says McLean and DeMont essentially had the same problem I had in 2016. They do not have the experience or connections to raise $150,000 a year needed to keep the state party going. My question is, does a budget committee is that like the committee does the budget and that's the vagaries? There's not a treasurer. How do we know?
The budget sets your spending limits that the chairman and the administration of the party has to live within.
My question is, how can we not know where money is?
No, we know where money went. Okay, that's not the problem. But the problem is, way too much of it went. We shouldn't even have a credit card because we've proven that it's too easy to rely on it to the point where in 7 months we go 25 grand in debt.
So it's a spending problem once again.
It really is.
So what did they spend it on?
And I think that those questions need a good answer.
Mountain
and
Dew
I
Skittles,
mean
as it were.
a real good answer.
They need an answer like Colin Kaepernick needs an answer.
No, I haven't been able to confirm. It seems like everybody's talking to everybody and nobody's really reported to the presiding committee of the party, which is the state committee, which I'm a member of. So I haven't gotten any clarity on this, but I've heard some layoffs have happened.
Well, the state Republican Party is clearly not on board with the new Trumpsonian era.
And here, my suggestion, and I'm totally biased, so take it with a grain of salt, because I actually care about policy and I don't care about labels. I care about outcomes and, not your words. The party could really stand up for what it believes in and release some kind of concise platform that is a few paragraphs long that talks about, I don't know, limited government, low regulation.
You want it down from 66
low
pages?
Taxes. We don't support socialist or corporatist schemes like Obamacare, etc.
You want Medicare for all?
And we can have debates so we can figure out, because we've got candidates right now, and I will name them, Kendra Horn, she's a Democrat, but I think she has the same policy, very similar to Van Sant. And Stephanie Bice is not much better. She's a D- from the NRA. You've got this lady, Van Sant, who's a Republican, who supports Planned Parenthood 6 months ago, is donating to Democrats 6 months ago, is a member of Sally's List. I think it's a progressive candidate forum or group. And so this is a true rhino. And I respect some people that say we need to be careful of those words. Fine, I'm being very careful. Show me one conservative policy. And you've got people running for chair of party positions that don't have a single conservative policy and hate all elected conservative politicians that are notable. So the party, to be relevant, needs to figure out what it's promoting and who these people are and say, no, we do not promote you if you do not agree with our ideals to 1%.
Well, I think in the primary, the party apparatus needs to stay out of that. I think they need to be fundraising, and once we get a primary, a nominee...
Healthy disagreement. I think they should be impartial, but a part of it. Part of presenting to the public what is the best Republican choice by hosting debates and in surveys. And some groups have done this, surveys to say, what do you believe, record it, and then people need to hold the candidates to account.
I think
they do need to have debates.
That's a very valid role. Having the questionnaires, having the forums, the debates, absolutely. But again, you've got to then present the ballot to the vote and say, now, Republican voters, who are we going to put forward in November?
And this is what these folks believe. And here's our platform. You decide.
One of the reasons that the state party loses its effectiveness is because we have several of these nonpartisan elections, like in the city government. So
Excellent.
how in the hell can the state...
You want to be
party-
relevant, make these partisan.
How can we get local and municipal governments to go in the right direction if
Okay.
we can't even identify what party they're
It
in?
was Dewey Bartlett's administration.
DBJ? Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
that he
The
said,
uncle of GT
he
Biden.
said, you know what, Republican, Democrat really doesn't have anything to do with how a city is run. Yeah, my foot.
What a
You know,
beautiful thought,
and
but
you know what?
completely devoid of
I
fact.
gotta
and
tell
reason.
you, it
Very
came,
beautiful. Though.
it came back to bite.
I love
touches
you
me
guys.
here.
It came back to bite
It
Dewey. I
did.
remember we had him come speak to the Republican Assembly here in Tulsa, and Chris Medlock, a former city councilman, says, "Hey, what's the deal with this being nonpartisan? You know?" And he says, "What's up with that?" And Dewey says, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't particularly care for it, you know." And he says, "Well, who decided that?" And he says, "Well, I don't know." And Sally Bell, a former Republican county chair, says, "Oh yeah, I remember. You were the one that pushed it on us." And Dewey's like deer in the headlights. "Oh, I guess I made a
Love you,
stupid
Sally.
mistake."
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, who couldn't make that mistake? I mean, I guess
And-
Flint, Michigan's run the same way as like Broken Arrow,
Well,
Oklahoma.
you know,
I guess
as long as-
Dallas has run the same way as Detroit. I mean, you know,
And as long as you're willing to take our money for whatever your boondoggle is,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter what party you're
Yeah.
in. And that's what they've proven, because they don't have any problem of illegally stealing money from us via taxation to create yet another monument to their graft and corruption.
and that's a stain on the party. Once again, 1010XX, you had a majority Republican vote on that in support of it. It was a totally pointless tax increase that doesn't address any of
That
the
was
underlying
completely
problems.
illegal from every angle you could look
Right.
at.
So that's the party. The party can be relevant by standing up and saying, "Guys, this isn't Republican. Where is this in our platform?" That could be.